What's up, guys? All right, now we've created a JSON file. We've created a web server, Express server for that. And now we're moving on to a React app. So, but if you want to see those videos, check them out. Except you don't need them. You can pretty much use this for whatever source of API you want to use. But we're going to use it for our JSON file, and we're going into React. To do that, I'm going to leave this server running. Now I don't need to push anything up. Oh, by the way, it looks weird because I used Babel to refactor them, but you don't need any of that. Just watch the videos before that. As long as you're grabbing the data, you don't need it. I'll leave that running. I'll close that. And then I'll start another VS Code instance. So we have the process where we did the Python thing, the server which is running right now. But I'm actually going to open that because I'm going to use our create React app to create the client side. And it's going to create a folder for that. So I'll use this command, create React app. If you don't have it, you have to install it. And I'm going to call it client because it's not going to be our front end. And by the way, I'm going to use Bootstrap for this because it's faster. It's not a CSS or HTML tutorial, just grabbing the thing and then just bang, using it. Okay, so I've installed. While it's installing, I'm going to go to the Get Bootstrap website. So I just grab the HTML, not the HTML, the CSS link, CDN. I'll grab that. And okay. Okay, it's done. So, but instead of having this, I'm just going to open it up so I don't have to worry about a whole bunch of stuff. I just open that client app. Kind of like you're open, you can see the, I'll just save whatever was not saved. Right. Now let's start the reactor. While that's going on, I'm going to add the CDN I copied. That's going to allow us to bring in Bootstrap, but before it does, anyway, this is React for you. Let's just wait for it. Because I'll strip a whole bunch of things out and then I'll introduce in my work. All right, so that's React for you. So let me take out a whole bunch of things. So the CSS, I don't need any of that. So I'll delete them all. I don't need any of all that. I'll just say hello quotes world. Then I also don't need the logo, which I'm just going to strip out. The CSS, I don't need any of that. I'll delete it. The quotes world, I'll delete that. All right, but because of React, it recompiles, and as you can tell, it's compiled there. If we did refresh. So like quotes word, fresh. Yeah. Until then, fresh. Okay. Now I'm gonna bring in Bootstrap in. I'm just gonna go into this public HTML file, pasting that Bootstrap. Now look at what's gonna happen here. So you see the font has changed. So Bootstrap is actually coming in. All right, so I'm done with that file. All right, yeah, this is gonna be a code machine, right? So I'm gonna use Flexbox, Bootstrap, the whole new stuff of doing that. And then I'm gonna be grabbing the codes from the server we created. If you haven't watched the video, just watch it. That class, I don't need it anymore. I'm gonna use the Bootstrap container, and I'll have some kind of like, I'll just put everything in the middle. So I'm gonna say gflex, and the command is justify content center. It's in the center, and then I'm gonna now put it like in the middle. So I'll say align item center again. But nothing is gonna happen because it's just taking up the top row there. I need to make it like 100%. So in here, I'm gonna say the height. Obviously, I need to make the container height 100%, view height, and then it should go in the middle. Let's put that wrong. Okay. Just to make sure that that wasn't a typo, I'm just gonna kind of like cut that out. You see? So it's there. It's there. Bingo. So I'm done with that. Now in this chords thing, I need like the part where it's showing the chords, which let's say chord, but I also need like a button. Click here to generate new code. And you see the line next to next, but I want the code on top and the button at the bottom. So I'm gonna make this. And all these are just from Bootstrap. So I'm just using the Bootstrap defined rules to actually accomplish this. So I'll make it a flex first. Then I'm gonna make it, it's gonna be a flex column because the default is a row. So if I do that, duplex x column, that needs to go on top. Actually, yeah, I'll just put another div, which is gonna encompass the two. So that div is gonna hold the code and the button. You see how they're stacked on top of each other. I'm also gonna put in like a margin bottom. Actually, let me put that margin on top of the quotation. Margin bottom of 5. And that's too much. So maybe 2. Okay, that's good enough. I need to make this button a little bit. Anyway, where am I getting on this? Let me see what the buttons have got. I'm going to use that one. So I'll just copy that. All right. So yeah, that's beautiful. So and now this bootstrap stuff is done. Back again, even because of that. All right. Now we need to start grabbing the quotations back, but before that, we need to like lay down some logic in React. So I'm going to have like a state which is going to have the quotes. Let's make those quotes like an array because it's an array of objects. But the code I'm going to show there will be kind of like a string. And I'm also going to show the author of that string. For now, code make and the author me for now. How I figure out the logic. So click change that to generate new code for that, and the placeholder will be I'm going to use a function for that. I'll say render code, but we don't have the function yet. I'm going to define that function. Before you had to like make a constructor and bind it, but now I'm just going to use the UL via binding, which is just do that. And I'll say return hello render code. Just obviously you have to bind it to this object, right? Hello. Okay, that's working. So what code am I going to render now? I'll say if we have a code here. I'm going to render that. But yeah, for now I'll just render that code. Else, I'm gonna return something that's telling the user to say, we'll click the button. But here we have this make, right? So it's gonna say make. So now I'm gonna strip that out from there. But before I do that, let me kind of like format this a little bit to say, if I have a code, I'm gonna say the author, the quotation mark, and then the author. So and I'll say by. And I'll put these quotes in quotation marks. You see these curly brackets that invokes JavaScript. But if you don't put them there, it's just normal text. But right now we have make me. So you see make by me. But you know we need to start reading stuff from the server. I'm gonna delete all that. And it should click button to record, which we have not established yet. But at least this is now functioning. So if we have nothing, it's gonna get this. But if you have something, it's gonna display what you have. And I'm gonna go in the button and I'll write another function which is gonna be invoked when I click this. This dot generate code. So I'll write another function called generate code. Just for now, before we connect the web server, I'm just gonna like put in some stuff in the codes and author. So I'll say codes or code done, and then author will say me. So click button to generate code, and then if I do that, done by me. All right, now we need to start grabbing some data. But in this case, let me grab the data when the component mounts. I'm going to just grab the data from the server. I'm going to use, I can use Fetch, Super Agent, whatever. I'm going to use Axios, and I use the method, the get method. And here, you see, when we go to that site, we're getting a JSON, a bunch of JSON stuff. So that's the same thing I'm going to use. And you can see that's saying Axios. So we need to bring it in. All right. Well, that's being brought in, but we need to like install it. So I'll open up another one, and I'll say This one also has a package JSON file where our dependencies, we actually don't have any yet. So we need to install Axios. Okay, so while that's going, I'm going to start setting this up. And I'm now going to also use the async way of doing things. So that instead of doing that, I'll say, I'll get a response and I'll just wait on it. And then I'm going to now start using the browser so much, Chrome browser for that. I'll start consoling that. And then if I go here, I'll now start to, obviously, Axios is still being installed. But for now, I'll go to the console just to start waiting for what's going to happen. Obviously, a whole bunch of things. At the same time, it's saying, did you mean class name? Let's fix some of that. So we have the class there, which has to be class name. In React, you can't use the word class because that means a creation of an object, but you know in CSS, it's class. So that's what's happening there, but it's gonna way around it by making things into a class name to mean class for CSS. Right, while that's going, what else can we do? All right. And because I'm using await, I'm going to also say try. Just put it in a try catch block, just to catch all kinds of errors that are going to happen. And then if I get an error, I'll just console out that error. Obviously, right now we do have errors, but yeah, I'll put it in that. So what else can I do? Right. So if we get a response, we're going to check if that response has a status of 200. Remember when we sent that object, we sent it with a status code. If it does have a status code of 200, we are going to execute the code here. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this dot set state input. That T there. Okay, here we go. We're going to make the codes, all those codes are going to be dumped into there. And I'll just kind of like grab them on top before I dump them in there. And I'll also just do the await thing. Okay. So that's still going on. So I might as well continue with my logic. I'll just go to generate random codes here. So I'll just randomly get, I'll get an index because this will be an array of codes. So I'll just get a random index, which is going to be generated using the math. And I'll use the random function, but I'm going to multiply it by the length of the codes Okay, so this part is not going to do anything yet. Let's just make sure that the component in mount is working, because now it's done. And then if we refreshed, I'm just restarting it because it has the compound background. Anyway, while that's compiling, let's continue. So here we're getting the floor of a random number, making sure that it's the length, like the length of the array we are having. And then we're going to say we're going to get a code using that index. Okay. All right. So we have this net error connection refused. So we have to fix it on the server side. But before we even go forward, so we have a code. I'll call it item because it's going to be an object, right? Then I'm going to say item.code, and then item.author. Okay. We need to fix that access to our website. So let's go back to our server side. Crashed. What happened? Did I delete things? Okay, anyway. So obviously it's the same error there. We need to fix stuff here. So I need to install a few other dependencies. I need to install cause. That's the reason it's not being allowed there. But it also, as we are installing dependencies, I also just say Morgan, which is going to like document what I'm looking at. It's going to help me out and just sell me for security. And while that's being installed, I'm going to break the main. And if I'm ever going to write or send stuff to the server, I need to use the JSON package, but I'm not going to do it right now. Then I need to start using these packages here. I'll use Morgan, and I'll tell it I'm in development mode. I'm going to use Helmet. These are middleware that are useful for the Express server. And then I'm also now going to use more code, which is going to allow us to do that. But before that, I need to create codes options. I'm going to say the origin. I'm going to allow everything to access this. And I'll make the credentials true. But then I'm going to use codes, passing in those options. Make it plural. Okay. Okay. Now for Morgan, you see here, if I go here to the endpoint, that's 8,000 somehow. It's not picking up the, why is it not picking up the environment variable? What happened? It's not picking up. I guess something happened. Okay, it's bumping it. But if you look here, it's now telling me that's from Morgan. But if I go to here, then I console log that, it's telling me I've got these amount of stuff, so that's coming through too. And then if I click there, bingo, it's working. If I click there, it's working. So we have a full-fledged code machine. What's beautiful about this is now you can access anything, videos, pictures from Instagram, Twitter, Google, whatever. You can create your own files, your own company, database, stock market, everything. So the world is now at your hand. You can create a file, you can create a server, you can grab the server using React in Discuss, you can use Angular, you can use Vue. Let me know if you want Vue or Angular or just stock markets, whatever you want, put your comments down below. And peace.